Now, a lot of people all over the world have probably all heard of or listened to artists like Drake, Tory Lanez or The Weeknd, but a lot of people probably don't know much about the big city they grew up in. Today,
I never knew The Weeknd was from Toronto.
We'll be looking at the streets of Toronto and how it was a miracle that the artist I just named managed to make it out. Let's get into the video. Before I get into this one, guys, today we are running another giveaway. This time from Instagram.
The Toronto one, the scary Billy, should have someone watch it with you. Gee, I'm good, man.
Inside Canada. As a whole, Canada has always struggled with being overlooked in the music scene, especially in hip-hop. Before the late 2000s, the only type of Canadian-born music that really managed to hit mainstream was coming from the rock genre, with Canadian artists like Avril Lavigne and groups like Nickelback dominating the charts in the early 2000s. It would take all the way up to the early 2010s, when Canada's first global hip-hop success would
Look at Drake, look at this guy, fam.
Be found.
Such a good innocent youth, such a miskin.
But before we get into all this about the come-ups of Toronto rappers, let's look into the dangerous streets young Toronto rappers have to come up on. And one of the most notorious areas in the Greater Toronto area is around an hour away from downtown Toronto, in a neighborhood called Jane and Finch. When outsiders look at Toronto, it's easy to focus on the big skyscrapers and modern buildings in downtown Toronto. But Toronto is a massive city, with it being around 4.5 times bigger than London, so far away from all the modern and
4.5 times bigger than London. Swear down. That's literally a Hulk. How can it be that big? Now, let me get a map of Toronto right now. There's no way Toronto's that big. Brother. There's no way Toronto's that big. There's no way it's that big. What? No way is it that big. Yeah, man. So this is Toronto here. Ross. That's not 4.5 times bigger than London, is it? Oh, shout out to Cinderella K for the sub at tier 1. Subscribe for 2 months currently on a 1-month streak. Cinderella, thank you very much. We appreciate you always, man. Appreciate you. God bless you. God bless you. Chat. Obviously, it looks big. It don't look that big, though. It don't look that big, but it must be, though.
In the city, there's areas like Jane and Finch. Now, Jane and Finch doesn't have the best reputation in Toronto. It's quite notorious for being a low income and crime-ridden neighborhood, to say the least. And a lot of this is due to a big divide in the neighborhood, which has haunted the area in the last few decades. See, Jane and Finch isn't seen as one whole area. The neighborhood...
Let me see this. Jane and Finch hood map. That's crazy. This is like a GTA map or something. Y Block, 29Z, V Black Village, Seaside Connection, Eddie Rock. This looks like a COD map or something. What the hell am I watching? London is too small. No, it's not, bro. Chill out. I'm not even from London, and it's definitely not small, G. I'm from Toronto. It ain't small. Yeah, it's probably not, innit? D Block Woods, G Side, Shaw Shot, T Block. Fairs.
It has been split into 2 sides, one being North Jane and Finch and the other being South Jane and Finch, and both sides don't have the best relationship with each other. Dating all the way back to the 90s, there's always been a big rivalry between both sides. There's been many attempts throughout the years to die down tensions, like one concert in 2001 which was held to bring both sides under one roof, but this didn't end well, with 2 men being shot dead when the concert came to an end. See, right. Jane and Finch's gang history runs real deep. The north side of Jane and Finch are Crips, and the south side are Bloods. And as you probably know, Bloods and Crips normally don't have the best relationship. So let's first look at north side Jane and Finch, home to the Crips.
Like, I wonder how people from LA feel, yeah, where they see like the whole world doing the Blood and Crip thing. They must find it so funny. Like, even though, like, not to say there's a joke in it, obviously I know it gets cracking around these sides, but if I was actually from LA, if I was like an OG from LA, I would look at the whole world and I'll be like, raw, like, how the hell did this Blood and Crip thing become so global? Because everyone on planet Earth is either a Blood or a Crip now. Like, everyone on Earth is either blue or red. Now, just actually crazy.
Just like there are 2 sides of Jane and Finch, there are also a lot of small residential areas inside the neighborhood. There are still some...
Man said there are Bloods and Crips in Somalia. Allow it, bro. Allow it, man. Allow it.
residences inside Jane that don't get along with other residences inside their own half of the neighborhood. One residence, which is probably the most infamous inside North Jane and Finch, is an area called Driftwood. Now, Driftwood is home to the first big music movement coming out of Jane and Finch from some Driftwood Crips who now go by the name of Wasgang. And the first artist to really put on for the group was a Driftwood artist called Robin Banks, who burst onto the scene in early 2015 with songs like Up Next, which pioneered a new trap wave sound to Toronto. But it wouldn't be long until someone from Robin Banks' crew would be brought to national attention after a Crip from Driftwood called Wassy was shot dead on July 25th, 2015. Wassy grew up in the Driftwood area, but early on in life started finding himself in trouble with the law, which led him to being in and out of jail from a young age. But on June 28th, 2015, Wassy would take his life of crime to the next level. Around 6 AM, Wassy and his friend would find themselves going to an apartment party near downtown Toronto. But it would only be an hour after the two stepping in the party that, according to Wassy's friend, Wassy took interest at another party goer's gold watch and chain. An altercation happened which ended with two men being shot dead and Wassy and his friend making a run for it. Wassy and his friend became main suspects for the murder after CCTV footage was found of the pair leaving the apartment straight after the murder.
Now this guy does his flipping research, I'm not gonna lie.
CCTV footage even captured Wassy.
Have I listened to DB World? Nah, not properly, I only listened to it halfway through.
Wassy and his friend reenacting the murder while they was leaving the apartment in the lift.
Nah, but chat, you know how you know these men are tapped? You know how you know these men are tapped?
For it. Wassy and his friend became main
this is how you know these men are actually tapped.
suspects for the murder of the CCTV footage.
Brother, these men just bodied someone. They just took someone's life, and look how casual and calm they are. Look at them, look at them.
It was found of the pair leaving the apartment
chat, look how chill they are, look how chill they are.
straight after the murder. CCTV footage even captured Wassy.
No, man's reenacting it. No, man's had to dab each other up like they scored a goal. That's how you act, yeah, when you score a goal in training. You don't want to celebrate a bit too hard, but you want to show that you appreciate the goal. You just dap each other up a little bit. That's what they just done.
Wassy and his friend reenacting the murder.
How you? Oh, this is actually crazy, chat.
While they was leaving the apartment in the lift. Wassy's friend handed himself in after they were wanted, but Wassy had other ideas and went on the run. Most people, when they're on the run for a murder, they would normally hide out or move to a low-key part of the country, or even attempt to leave the country completely. But Wassy had different plans and was just living like any other person in the city would, going clubbing in downtown Toronto.
Wait, that's not being on the run.
And still in
Bro was just literally in plain sight. He was not running from nobody.
enjoying life. But this was short-lived. With less than a month after the double murder, there were reports that Wassy was inside the club in Toronto, and in no time, several undercover officers were waiting outside the club, ready to catch him. Wassy left the club and got into a car, and this was when undercover officers made their move, blocking in the vehicle. But stuff went left when shots started firing between the police officers and Wassy, with a shot ending up hitting Wassy in the chest, sadly killing him. Wassy was loved as a Wassy, with a shot ending up hitting when shots started firing between the police officers and Wassy.
Swear the police killed him, that's mad.
With a shot ending up hitting Wassy in the chest, sadly killing him. Wassy was loved and respected a lot, especially in his Driftwood area, with Robin Banks and his crew even renaming their music group to Wasgang in remembrance to him. And
oh, that's why they're called Wasgang. Oh, makes sense.
a lot of members even started rocking gold chains with a pendant of his face on it.
Chat, you know what I want to know? What part of Toronto is Drake from? Because I see Drake around these man so much. I want to know what part of Toronto he's from. What part of Toronto is Drake from? Yeah. Nah. Drake. Oh my. Drake was raised in two neighborhoods. He lived on Western Road in Toronto's working class West End. Drake primarily lived with his mother on Western Road. Where's Western Road? Let me see. 1 second. Let me see. Toronto map. Western Road. Southwestern is there, innit? Western is there. So where does all these man's block? Where's Driftwood in that? Drake is from Scarborough. So what? My question is like, is Drake from anywhere near where these men are from? And if the answer is no, yeah, then why does he beg it off them like that? Oh, fair enough, they're from the same city, but like, why does he move like he's one of them? Like, I don't get it.
Wassie's crazy story brought a lot of attention towards North Jane and Finch. And there was
Driftwood isn't Jane and Finch. Yeah, I know. Drake is originally from Tower Hamlets. He grew up in Scarborough. I don't know how you might know that though.
More attention to the area after another double murder took place and after party of the biggest Toronto rapper Drake's OVO festival. Every year, Drake holds a massive festival in Toronto and invites some of the biggest artists to perform to his home city, creating one of the biggest events in Toronto. And the nightclub in Toronto called Music Nightclub was hosting the after party, which a few high profile people were attending. But somehow, despite all the security and police guarding the club, someone managed to get inside the club and let off several shots, hitting a man who went by the name of Slugger, killing him inside the club. After the shots, people started to disperse outside the club, but shooting continued outside, with several shots hitting random civilians trying to escape the carnage. Sadly, one of these shots ended up hitting a young woman who was desperately trying to get into a cab to escape the bullets. Slugger was linked to the Crips in an area called Rexdale, who have a feud with the Crips in Driftwood. Now, a few months after this week of madness, Robin Banks, alongside some of his friends from Driftwood, dropped a song which blew up more than they probably thought. The song, named Was Gang, dropped in November 2015 and quickly amassed millions of views on YouTube, bringing listeners from all over the world in probably their first introduction into real Toronto street music, showcasing the world to Robin Banks and another rapper who soon Toronto, bringing it to November 2015.
Let me hear this song. Let me try to hear this song.
Blew up more than they probably thought. The song, named
Was Gang, Robin Banks, X Pressa, M Works. Let me hear this tune. Oh, 640. Was Gang. What's the name of the song though? Robin Banks. Yeah, there we go. I think the song was called Waska. So this one's Robin Banks, Pressa, GD, and FB. So obviously we know about who Pressa is. I don't know who Robin Banks is, but apparently he was bigger this time.
I love my niggas, so you know I'm about my niggas. If you diss my niggas, then you know we pulling triggers. Late nights with them killers, we kidnapping drug dealers. Cards gang, fuck your feelings, so who cares if you don't feel a song? All you niggas wash up, y'all be wash gang. My niggas super sad, we be wash gang. All you niggas wash up, y'all be wash gang. My niggas super sad, we be wash gang.
Y'all niggas wash up, you be wash gang. My niggas turn up, so we wash gang. And Wassy felt like Larry. If they don't show me love, they better fear me. We up to fuckery up on my ends. I'm talking dirt bike in the AMs. I'm talking M's, I hate an AM. They gon' pick me out and ball my first name. We run him down and fuck a drive-by. This that Ivory Red got him how high? This that Demiana, this that dead guy. And you could be the next guy.
I love my niggas, so you know I'm about my niggas. If you diss my niggas, then you know we pulling triggers. Late nights with them killers, we kidnapping drug dealers.
Now the Robin Banks guy actually kinda hard, so I'm gonna let it's kinda hard still.
Gang, fuck your feelings, so who cares if you don't feel a song? All you niggas wash up, y'all be wash. My niggas super sad, we be wash gang. All you niggas wash up, y'all be wash gang. My niggas super sad, we be wash gang.
GD number 30, I buy a bike gang. Niggas in the streets, they callin' my name. SOS 3 letters, bitch, that's my gang. Die bitch to the ops gang. And whilst he flock,
Man said die bitch to the ops gang. What the hell? Person like a 6-year-old.
Dreadlock gang. We got lots of guns, mostly Glocks, man. Only headshots when them Glocks aim. They took my bro whilst I'm going insane. GD with a fifth and the clip hang. We got lots of chops where we chip cane. Watts gang, course gang, bitch, we North Jane. Rapping and we trapping and we gang bang.
I love my niggas, so you know I'm about my niggas. If you diss my niggas, then you know we pulling triggers. Late nights with them killers, we kidnapping drug dealers. Courts gang, fuck your feelings, so who cares if you
Super sad, we be West gang.
All you niggas wash up, y'all be wash gang. My niggas super sad, we be West gang.
SOS bitch, yeah we was gang. SOS, we to get you lost gang. I took around the calendar like Watt said. You this Wassy, you get filled up with hard lead. That's top left. And I'm
Chad, my man a gang member as well. There's no way this guy's a gang member, Chad. Come on, man.
you this
Is my man a gang member?
Wassy, you get filled up with
He's talking smoke.
hard lead. That's top left. And I'm still on that stage shit. GD number
Nah, chat.
30 on that same shit. I buy, bitches say we famous. I started from the bottom and I don't mean the lane kid.
Nah, that actually wasn't bad. Let's go back to the documentary though. Let's go back to the Ross Club documentary still. Man like Pressa, you know. Where are we?
Now, a lot of people all over the world have probably all heard of or listened to artists
I'm trying to remember where we were. We were like, I think 6 something.
He was already well known in Jane and Finch. Less than 2 months of the Toronto rap game called Pressa, and quickly amassed millions of views on YouTube, bringing listeners from all over the world in probably their first introduction into real Toronto street music, showcasing the world to Robin Banks and another rapper who soon after would take over the Toronto rap game called Pressa. In this song, Pressa really stood out over everyone else with his unique high-pitched voice and baby face, creating an early buzz for himself. Pressa started making more noise in 2016, releasing songs like Demiana and TBH.
I think the first time I heard of Pressa was when he done that song with Gigs. That's the first time I actually took him in still, I can't lie. And I never really like understood it. Like I never really like got my head around his type of sound. It's definitely not for me still, but he's blatantly doing his thing though, cause behind his name's ringing bells still.
He's getting millions of views. But before Pressa even picked up a mic, he was already well known in Jane and Finch. Less than 2 months of being born, Pressa's dad hit national news after he got into an altercation with a security guard after he was angry waiting in a line for too long outside the party.
Man said 2 months after Pressa was born, yeah, his dad was on the news for altercation. I can't lie. He was cooked from early still. He was cooked from early. Broski was never gonna be a good youth ever.
Months of being born, Pressa's dad hit national news.
That's his dad. Yeah, I can't lie. Broski was set up from early. He was never gonna be a good youth ever.
After he got into an altercation with a security guard after he was angry waiting in a line for too long outside the party. After a while of waiting, he calmly went to his car to grab a gun and shot the security guard in the chest.
Wait, what? Wait, Chad, you hear what he just said? My man got tired of waiting in the line, so he went to his car and shot the security. And that's Pressa's dad. You know, that's a definition, yeah, of I didn't choose the street chose me. That's a definition. The bro was actually born to be a street nigga. Like he had no alternatives. If he tried to be a good youth and tried to go to school, that would have looked at him like, brother, his dad would have got a DNA test. His dad would have said, there's no way this is my son. If Pressa turned out as a good youth, his dad would have got a DNA test and abandoned him. He would have said, there's no way this is my son. The Pressa had no choice but to be a gang member.
Pressa's dad ended up getting 15 years to life for this murder before Pressa even properly started in life, leaving Pressa's mum to attempt to take care of him and his older brother alone. But with Pressa growing up in the streets of Driftwood without having a proper father figure with him, led him and his older brother to get
How can you do that when you have a 2-month-old son? That is crazy.
Involved in crime from an early age. In 2011, this caught up to Pressa and his older brother, with both of them getting caught up in a gang takedown, dubbed Project Marvel, which took down 60 alleged violent gang members around the Driftwood area. Pressa's brother was actually labelled the leader of the gang in the area, and Pressa himself was treated as the second in command, despite him only being around 15 at the time. Pressa's brother would end up getting sentenced to 10 years for gun, drug and gang charges, and and Pressa ended up spending a little bit of time inside himself. But in 2016, Pressa started making a new avenue for himself, with him quickly being quite a big music figure in the Toronto scene. But it wouldn't be long before Pressa will be wrapped up into another case that could have easily ended his career short. A few months after Pressa dropped probably his biggest solo track at the time, called Demiano, Wax Gang were throwing an apartment party in
It's always these elevators, isn't it? It's always these flipping elevators, chat.
downtown Toronto when an opposing gang crashed the party. This led to a shootout between
I don't feel like that's the same elevator. Come like every elevator in Toronto looks the exact same.
the two groups in the corridor of the apartment, leading all the way to the elevators of the apartment. Not long after this, allegedly Wax Gang members invited over two 17-year-old boys to an apartment who they thought tipped off their ops about their party. When the two boys got to the apartment, they were subjected to some quite crazy stuff. It was said they were tied to a chair so they couldn't escape and were regularly beaten. They were even forced to play Russian roulette with a loaded handgun. This
Man, these men are actually psychopaths, bro. They're actually crazy. Man said they played Russian roulette with it. Oh my, these men are actually psychopaths, bro. That's not normal behavior.
went on for around
If you're gonna beat someone up, just beat them up. If you're gonna shoot someone, just shoot them. Like, brother, do you know that level of torture is actually insanity? Like, that's actually on the spectrum of like being insane. I'll be honest, like that's Jeffrey Dahmer level insanity.
48 hours
That's like the Joker level insanity.
Until they moved to another location, which even happened to be one of the kidnappers' home addresses. While one of the kidnappers' family was still inside and living inside the property, it was claimed that the two boys were even forced to do sexual acts on each other. The kidnappers
No, Starfall, just shoot me. Actually, just shoot me. Actually, just shoot me. How are you gonna kidnap two youths and make them do the matching with each other? Just shoot me. I'll actually just look him in the eye and be like, bro, just shoot, just kill me, bro. Just take my life, bro. How come I... Nah. Child, what are you doing? Are you giving neck to your brethren or are you getting shot? Honest question, what you man doing? Because I'm getting bun. I don't care. I'm getting shot.
after some time demanded the family members of the two boys for $3,000 for their release and a further $10,000 for the
$3,000, is that it?
videos of them two doing sexual acts not to be posted online, which was eventually paid out and the boys were released. Now Pressa actually got charged for this kidnapping case a few days after the release of the two boys, but managed to bail out while police were still collecting evidence and everything. And when Pressa came out, he started showing that he wasn't playing around with his music career, dropping tracks throughout the rest of 2016, hitting millions of views, which at this point was hella rare for a Canadian rapper. Drake even co-signed Pressa, eventually taking him out to tour with him in Europe, leading everyone in Canada to think that they have a new superstar on their hands. Robin Banks was also doing his thing, dropping to find Pressa.
Look at this Drake guy, fam.
Eventually taking him out
Nah, bro thinks he's involved so badly. Like, brother, just stick to singing, man.
to tour with him in Europe, leading everyone in Canada to think that they have a new superstar on their hands. Robin Banks was also doing his thing, dropping tracks like Priceless, which was easily one of the hottest tracks coming out of Toronto in 2016. And Robin Banks continued to drop bangers in the first half of 2017. On the 14th of April 2017, Robin Banks' music career was put on hold. Robin Banks' friend was celebrating his birthday in a shisha bar up in the city, so Banks pulled up to the bar to show some love to his friend, but someone in the bar must have gave the drop that Robin Banks was there, because when Banks and some of his friends went outside the bar to smoke, two men were waiting outside in a blacked out car and let off several shots hitting 3 people, but mostly targeting Robin Banks. Banks was shot 9 times in his legs, stopping him from being able to run away from
9 times in the leg. Wait. How do you shoot a nigga 9 times, yeah, and every single one of them lands in the leg? That means he was aiming for the leg. Like, that means there's no way he wasn't aiming for the leg. Like, he was aiming for that leg, G.
from the shots.
You're trying to leave him with no legs to stand on, G. Bro is not trying to see the feet. Literally.
But a final shot to the neck dropped him to the ground, and Robin Banks was rushed to hospital in a life-threatening condition. When the news came out, quite a few reports on social media were claiming that Robin Banks had lost his life to the shots, but luckily Banks managed to power through, eventually waking up a couple days afterwards thanks to his treatment. Banks started doing well in hospital and friends and family were looking forward to a full recovery, but around a month later, the news broke that Robin Banks may never be able to walk again.
Eesh, that hurts. You'll never walk again. sign on. And I'm United fan, I should be singing.
With shots to his legs literally crippling him, leaving him in a wheelchair. But this didn't stop him, with him still releasing tracks and continuing to grow his up top label, despite him literally being paralyzed, which is quite inspiring.
No, that is actually crazy. That's actually crazy. No.
But Robin Banks was left with a better fate than a lot of rappers in his area. Toronto throughout the years has had quite bad luck with their rappers. It kinda seems like there's a curse going round. Anytime it looks like a rapper is on his way up, they always end up dying or getting caught up in a really bad case. Back around the same time, Pressa was arrested for his kidnapping case. A new up and coming rapper from a nearby opposing area to Wasgang, called Sizzlack, was shot and killed days after he released his biggest track called Realist in the Sits. Another rapper from the same area, Sizzlack, was also shot dead in 2017 called Young Dubs, around the same time of Young Dubs' murder.
I know it's shot, yeah, like every time you hear like someone got shot dead, someone got killed, like obviously like you feel it in it, but after a while it's hard to shout to Alyssa 703 for the follow, to Blix Built Different for the follow as well. It's hard to like feel the same like remorse and feel the same way you felt like when it just happening so often. You just get numb to it.
Another Wasgang rapper called YG was a top suspect in a shooting which left an opposing gang member dead, and he went on the run to America. And yet again, another Wasgang rapper by the name of FB was remanded for a case.
Well, that's my man. That's the FB guy from the shooting, innit?
And 3 other men allegedly ran up an illegal marijuana dispensary, pistol whipped a worker, and tying up any staff members inside the shop in plastic restraints until the police pulled up and they escaped. But one of the biggest losses to come from the Toronto rap scene came on June the 30th, 2018. A rapper called Smoke Dawg. Now in 2018, Smoke Dawg was one of the biggest things coming out of Toronto. He was coming out of a neighborhood called Regent Park, located in downtown Toronto. But despite Regent Park being just minutes away from the rich and thriving centre of the city, and even Regent Park itself being redeveloped into quite an impressive area, it still contains quite a few low-income residents who are left to try and keep up with the pretty much unaffordable cost of living in downtown Toronto. Now in June 2018, Smoke Dawg alongside his manager went to a nightclub called Cube, and everything seemed alright. But when Smoke Dawg was outside the club, he got into an argument with a Wasgang rapper called 21 Knee, which ended with Smoke Dawg alongside his manager being shot dead. It's rumored that 21 Knee mocked Smoke Dawg just before this incident due to Smoke Dawg's chain being robbed recently before, and then after this all hell just broke loose. 21 Knee went on the run all the way to the other side of Canada, but was eventually caught and found guilty of second-degree murder. Now this whole situation was kinda weird because Wasgang's area, Driftwood, and Smoke Dawg's area, Regent Park, didn't really seem to have much issues with each other prior to this murder. Like both areas are easily around 30 to 45 minutes away from each other.
That's quay 40-minute drive. Man, just going on a 40-minute glide, brother. Halfway through, you be looking at yourself like, bro, do I even really hate these niggas? Like, you know them ones, you're riding out on your ass for 40 minutes, like 30 minutes, and you're looking at it, like, is this beef even that deep? Like, too much time to reflect. Like, I've been honest, 10-15 minutes max. I can't lie to you, cause after 40 minutes, gee, you're not even angry no more.
And the Driftwood rapper Pressa and Smoke Dawg seem to have a good relationship with each other, with them both being part of Drake's European tour and being seen in several pictures with each other. But the murder of Smoke Dawg caused tension between both Regent Park and Driftwood, and the response to this was worse than anyone expected. By 2020, long after his kidnapping charges were dropped, Pressa took his music career to the next level and had moved out to Los Angeles ready to take on the US music scene. And it was seeming like another rapper coming straight out of Driftwood was looking to join him soon, called Houdini. Houdini was creating a
I know this guy.
Crazy buzz in Toronto, with tracks like Late Night, which is on now 11 million views. You could really tell Houdini was taking his music career serious as well when he moved to the other side of Canada in a city called Vancouver so he could be closer to LA where he was networking. And anytime he was in Canada, he would stay well away from Toronto. But deep into COVID times in 2020, after several months away from his family, he decided it was time to go visit them in Toronto during the Easter period. During his time back in the city, he was staying at his friend's Airbnb in downtown Toronto, but in May 26th, tragedy struck. Word got around that Houdini was back in the city, and when Houdini and a couple friends were out and about in the center of the city, a rented blue Volkswagen managed to lock onto the vehicle Houdini had been traveling in, and waited around 40 minutes for Houdini and his friends to
waited for 40 minutes. Wow. Do you know how badly you have to want to get someone to wait for 40 minutes, chat?
To go back into his car. When he...
Do you know how many gigabytes? Do you know how big of a game you could download on your PlayStation in 40 minutes, G? How much things you could do in 40 minutes?
Houdini walked past the blue Volkswagen. The Volkswagen U-turned and started letting off shots into Houdini and his friends. Houdini started running for his life immediately, while one of his friends was shooting back at the attackers. But it was clear that Houdini was the car's target, with the car catching up to Houdini and the shooter jumping out to get some more shots off onto him. The scene just looked like a complete mess. Shots were flying everywhere.
Rest in peace, Houdini, man. Rest in peace. That's crazy. That's actually sad. I can't lie.
In broad daylight, with civilians in full view. One woman was even hit by a stray bullet. All of this being in the entertainment district of Toronto. In London
Entertainment district. There's a place called Entertainment District.
Terms, this is just like a broad daylight shootout happening in Mayfair. It's just something that should not be happening. Houdini managed to get to a nearby alleyway, but by this time he was already shot, which he sadly didn't survive from.
I said Mayfair, you know.
Was a big...
That's the base of base.
blow to the Toronto scene, and a lot of big rappers paid homage to Houdini, who died way too soon. Houdini had a memorial take place the next month to celebrate his life, which obviously Houdini's friends and family attended, alongside quite a few Was Gang members. But the word came out about the funeral, and a couple uninvited guests pulled up. A massive shootout happened where more than 60 shots were fired, but luckily
at the funeral, nah, this is too far. You might have taken it too far.
No one suffered any serious injuries from the shot. Two Was Gang members called Burner Bands and GD were arrested for the shooting, despite them only defending themselves, leading Region Park and Driftwood to fully start feuding with each other, all stemming from 21 Neat's murder of Smoke Dawg. 21 Neat also has a blood brother part of Was Gang who goes by the name of 22 Neat. But just like 21 Neat, 22's story doesn't end quite well. 22 Neat's sad story started after allegedly another Was Gang rapper called YS, alongside another member called Flipper, were allegedly paid to execute a member of a Canadian mafia. A month after this murder, the Was
Canadian mafia? Where did they come into this?
Gang rapper YS was found dead himself in the execution style murder all the way on the other side of Canada. Now allegedly 22 Neat had something to do with this murder, and a couple days after 22 Neat was found dead himself, in quite a crazy month of events. Now we're in 2023 and Jayna Finch are left wondering how big some of these artists could have been if they stayed alive. Pressa's still holding it down for the north side of Jayna Finch, setting up camp in LA and still releasing good music. Robin Banks doesn't release too much anymore, focusing on other ventures while still
Of course he don't release no more.
being paralyzed. Another Was Gang rapper who went by the name Tall Up Twin was a victim of a triple murder inside an apartment party in downtown Toronto. It's even alleged that he actually killed the two other victims in the triple murder and then shot himself in the head after realizing what he had done. But he still has a twin that still raps till this day. The south side of Jayna Finch has always struggled a bit with producing big rappers. One rapper which has seen quite a bit of success is a rapper called LB Spiffy, who was...
Brother, this youth is actually 14 years old max. This is a kid. This is a baby.
He's actually one of the first underground Toronto rappers I've listened to. Back
Chat, these men are 14 years old. What's he talking about?
in 017 to 18. Another up and coming rapper coming out of South Jane was NHS JJ, but sadly yet again he was a victim of a murder in 2020. But the hottest rapper coming out of South Jane is definitely a rapper called Dawg, who started seeing nationwide success after his hit single called Nightmares. Hopefully we start to see more underground Toronto rappers making it out of Toronto like Pressa, and let me know in the comments if you want me to cover any more crazy.
Dawg is cool. Should we listen to him, chat? Listen to Dawg. Let's take it. I'm gonna say let's take it. Answer why. Dawg Nightmares.
This shit off the top, man. You know what friends do. Like every other track, yeah. You know what friends do. You gotta watch out for your friends too. Bad bitch wanna hop up in that Benz coupe. We chose to grind, that's the plan, but yeah. Pop up at night, yeah. Friday the 13th, we so scary too. It's that nightmare on East Street. We ride around, we lurking, we keep a beat. Don't think it's love, don't know the meaning. Don't catch you slipping, see that's what slimes do. Yeah, I'm tryna remind you. Block 9, spin that 9 too. We tryna find you. I lost my mind, them perkies got me real. I still go shoot it, what you thinking? Yeah. You think cause I rap this shit ain't nice? I bet if you reach that shit get ugly. I bet if my head go beat, I beat it. Ain't told my life I'm on that Jane too. Mary Jane, plain Jane too. Don't think it's love, that bitch gon' line you. You know them friends do. You gotta watch out for your friends too. Bad bitch wanna hop up in that Benz coupe. We chose to grind, that's the plan, boo. Yeah, pop up at night, boo. Yeah, Friday the 13th, we so scary too. It's a nightmare on his street. We ride around, we lurking, we keep a beat.
Chat.